Hello and welcome to Pilates. Today we're focusing very much on strengthening the core, at the same time being mindful about the muscles that we're actually working or that we should be working. Okay, so a lot of isometric holding, which is all about just holding the position without any movement at all, just so that you can really listen to your body, talk to your body and get it right. So not so much frantic movement today, more about concentration and strengthening all of the core muscles, which we know involve working the abdominals muscles, the transverse abdominis, the rectus abdominis, as well as the obliques that flank, and the glutes, the pelvic floor muscle, and the inner thighs in particular as well. All right, so we're going to start today just by coming onto all fours for a warm-up. So come and join me with your wrists over your shoulders, okay, and your knees underneath your hips. The toes are relaxed, all right, and we have a little bit of external rotation going on with the shoulders, so we don't want to be going inwards. Think about a 5-pound note in between the blades. So you're trying to draw those shoulder blades down into a soft V into the base of the spine, and try and get the elbows, the elbow crease, facing forward. Fingers planted wide on the mat, all right, and pushing down hard, and we're just drawing the shoulders away from the earlobe, so we're getting that lovely work in the lats and in the rhomboids here. The abdominals, we pull in slightly, so we're pulling that belly button in towards the spine, and we're looking slightly ahead of the fingers for cervical alignment with the rest of the spine. We don't want to drop the head. Okay, now we're going to breathe into the nose, and on our exhale we're going to pull the belly in, and we're going to tuck the tailbone underneath the bottom, pull the belly in, and just round through the spine into cat stretch. We end up with our chin coming towards our chest and our nose reaching for our belly, so we're stretching the back of the neck. Pull the shoulders away from the ears, belly in. Keep breathing here and just try and arch the spine as much as you can, pulling the belly button in. Now on your next inhale, we flick the tailbone up to the ceiling. We dip the lower spine. We draw the blades back a bit more and we look up. So now we're going to cow pose. We're looking up, we're pulling the shoulders away from the ears, and we're trying to arch that lower back by sticking the bottom up. Keep the belly slightly engaged here, pull it in. And we're stretching out the neck, flexor now, the throat. On your next exhale, we breathe out through the mouth, we tuck the tail under, we pull the belly in, so round that lower back as much as you can, then the middle back, then the upper back, then the back of the neck. And we're opening the blades wide, so try and spread the shoulder blades wider. And we're trying to bring our ribs and hips closer together and lengthen a bit more from the crown to the tail. Let's inhale now, flick the tail up, dip the lower spine, squeeze the blades back and look up, cow pose. And we're pushing our collarbone forward but our shoulders back. Stretch the neck and the throat. And we're going to now exhale one more time into cat. So we tuck the tail under, we round through the spine. And we're going to inhale to neutral spine, which is in between those 2 points. Now on your next inhale, let's take up our left elbow. And we can just stay here if you want to. We're trying to draw the shoulder back and up to the ceiling. So the elbow is reaching for the ceiling. Now if you want to, stay here. Otherwise, extend the arm. Now push into the right hand. And think about this muscle, the lat muscle underneath that right armpit. Look up at the hand if you can, and let's exhale through the needle, drop the head completely, let it drop to the floor, and trying to get the back of that left shoulder as much onto the mat as you can. Keep breathing here. And on your next exhale, push into the right hand or the right lat muscle and abs to lift yourself back up. Let's do the same with the right arm. Let's take the elbow up. And then you can extend the arm. Let's stay here for a couple of breaths. Open up that right shoulder. Try and stack it over the left. Shoulders away from the ears, the hips facing down. Let's exhale through the needle. Drop the head, drop the shoulders, and trying to get rotation here in that thoracic spine, which is your upper back. So we're stretching out the muscles in the back of the body here, the upper back, rotator cuff muscles, the back of the shoulder. Let the head relax, the bottom lifts up, and the spine is totally relaxed. On your next exhale, push into the left lat muscle, abs, to lift yourself up. Now we're going to lift our knees off the floor. Now option, we just lift one knee off the floor, but you've got to keep that pelvis completely still. So it's lifting one knee and down, and then the other. Now nothing's moving here. Yeah, there's a tray of drinks on your lower back. Option, keep the toes relaxed and lift both knees 1 millimeter. I don't want any movement in your spine. And release. So what we don't want to do is this. Yeah, we're rounding. Draw the blades back away from that from the neck, and inhale to release. Now you've got to pull your belly in, squeeze your bottom cheeks, lift up through your lats and your lower abdominals and your lower rib cage. Think about the muscles around your lower ribs. Pull them in. Belly in, lift up your pelvic floor muscle and release. Let's take the knees wide, the toes together, and let's come into child's pose. Arms forward. Option, just bring them by your side. Otherwise, we're stretching out the shoulders here, the spine. Don't tuck the chin in. Crown of head reaching forward, the tailbone driving back. And lengthen from the crown to the tail. Sink the armpits and the hips a little bit lower. And let's round through the spine to bring ourselves up to that 4-point kneel. Now, we're going to start today just by building up that core strength again. We're just warming it up. And we're going to come into a bit of 4-point kneel just to warm up. So make sure those wrists are under the shoulders. You've got that little bit of external rotation going on with the shoulder. All right. And we're looking slightly ahead of the hands. We're in neutral spine, which is a little curve here, but not a deep one. Keep that tray of drinks on your back. Inhale, right leg out. Now, on your exhale, we're going to lengthen and pull, pull, pull. The right hip stays facing down. Option, take the left arm out as well, but draw those blades back. We inhale, lower, and we exhale in. Let's do the same. The left leg goes out first. Inhale. And exhale, pull, pull, pull. Right arm out as well if you wish. And keep still, yeah. Shoulders away from the ears, and we're pulling that leg behind. Inhale, lower, exhale in. Become a bit more forward. So let's go again. We're going to inhale, left fingertips, right toe. Exhale to pull. Now holding it here, we're going to inhale, lower, and we exhale, lengthen. Inhale, lower. Option, just do the leg. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's do one more. Breathing in, breathing out. Hold, lengthen, 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 and just talk to your body. Think about your right armpit muscle. Think about your abs. Pull them in. Squeeze your right glute, and your shoulders are away from your ears. We're going to inhale lower and exhale back in. Let's do the same with the other side. Right fingertips, left toe. Keep that tray of drinks on your back, and we lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. We're stretching the fingertips away from that toe, shoulders away from the ears. We breathe into the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to inhale, lower. We exhale to lengthen. We inhale to lower. Exhale for 2. Keep working through your left armpit muscle, your lats, abs, the lower ribs. Pull that belly in. And 3. One more time. The shoulders are away from the ears. Exhale 4. We're going to hold, hold, hold. Can you lengthen a bit more? And let's slowly now lower and pull in. Take the knees wide, the toes together, and come back to your child's pose. And allow the body to relax. Give your wrists a little bit of rotation if you felt that in your wrists. And we're now going to come on to elbow plank. So elbow plank is particularly challenging if your core is is not particularly strong at the moment. So don't worry, if you find that the plank is the elbow plank is hard, you can just lie all the way on the floor like so. Legs are hip distance, elbows underneath your shoulders, and you can have your hands out or clasped together. But we pull the shoulders back away from the ears, and you pull your belly in and tuck the tail under. And you can always stay here. You should be feeling it in that transverse abdominal. So this is not about the rectus abdominis. This is the muscles that wrap around your spine. Horizontal sheath of fibers. You've got to pull your belly button in to feel them engaging. Now breathe into your ribs rather than into the belly in order for you to keep that belly in all the time. So don't over pull it in, just a 20-30% engagement. Option, you lift the thighs off the floor a little bit more now with the knees on the floor, and you're going to feel those abs, yeah, the belly engaging a bit more. Now squeeze your butt at the same time. Option 2 or 3 now, lift up the legs and drive the heels actively backwards. So engage those hamstrings by driving the heels back, squeeze your glutes and pull your belly in. Now we can hold it here, but it's best to bring movement in. So we're going to inhale, take one leg out. Option, just stay still if you need to. Exhale, back in. And the other side and back in. Now don't go too far out. It's more about just moving, yeah? And inhale and exhale. Let's do 3 more on each side, and draw your shoulder blades away from your ears. Yeah, lats engaging, those muscles underneath your shoulders. Lengthen them through the heels and pull your belly in, and stop the P if you're a lady and lift up those regions if you're a guy. Yeah, let's do 1 more. And last one. And down we come. And just take a moment here, just place your hands under your forehead and give your hips a little shake from side to side. Should have felt that from your ribs or from your shoulders down to your knees. That's where you should have felt the work. And that is the core. We don't want to take it into the neck, okay? Or the lower back though, okay? It's got to be the abs and the glutes, the lats. So now we're going to do the arm movement, okay? So let me just change direction. So, again, option. Just stay in this position, okay? Lift up the thighs to make it more challenging, but don't lift up the hips. Remember, you're in a straight line. You don't want to kink at the hip flexors. So tuck your tail under slightly if you need to, if you're arching that lower back. We don't want that, okay? Otherwise, let's lift up those legs, drive the heels actively back. Now bring your elbows closer together and take the legs a bit wider, okay? Now you're more like a triangle. You've got more balance now. Hands come apart. We inhale out to the side and we exhale in. Now think about the dropping the knees to the floor if you need to. We don't want to rock the hips from side to side. Pull that belly in. You've got a belt around your waist. Let's do 3 more on each side. Don't rush it. Remember, the breath leads to movement, and it's about precision and concentrating. Let's do 1 more. Squeeze your glutes. Pull your belly in, lift the pelvic floor and bring those knees down, and let's come down again. So again, if that was too much, take the legs wider, elbows closer together to get the balance, and just keep the knees on the floor if you need to. This is what we build up for. Now we're going to combine the 2 now. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Too much, just stick to the leg or just stick to the hand, or just stay in this position. You can always take the leg out to the side and in, okay? Otherwise, legs a bit wider, elbows closer together, and we take the opposite arm, opposite leg out and pull back in. Inhale and exhale. Try and keep the hips still, squeeze your glutes. Shoulders away from the ears, don't drop the head. So many things to think about. Pull that belly in, squeeze your butt. Let's do 1 more. Option, just stay still if you need to. And down we come. Well done, everybody. Just take a moment here. Hands under your forehead. Just give your hips a little shake from side to side. And well done. Let's bring ourselves up now and take a moment into our child's pose just to recover. So if you're feeling it's quite challenging at certain points, don't worry, just try and hold on And remember, there's always going to be a release stretch afterwards or some kind of relaxation after each exercise. The most important thing is to concentrate so that you're mindful about what you're doing, what muscles are working. So you slow it down and don't rush it. And if you need to, just stop, okay, and get it right rather than getting it wrong, okay, and ticking the box. Yeah, it's best if you get it right first. So don't worry if you can't do the amount of reps that you want to. Okay, so let's now come onto our fronts and we're going to, onto our backs, and we're going to come all the way to the floor. And I want you just to place your hands by your side and keep your knees bent, heels underneath your knees. And we're going to put our hands behind our head. Now you can put your thumbs on the back of your neck, okay, and just give that neck a little massage with your thumbs. And just be aware of opening up the chest here. So just be mindful here about the chest, how we're stretching it by trying to get the elbows wide. And with the chin is slightly tucked into the chest here, the lower back's in the floor. There's a little gap between the lower back and the floor because that's your neutral spine. Having a little curve there. Feet flat on the floor. And just think about here your pelvic floor muscle. So we mentioned it briefly earlier. So a lady, you've got to stop that P mid-flow. And for the gentleman, icy water coming up your legs, you've got to lift up those regions. So think about that pelvic floor muscle coming up while we bring the sternum down towards the meated, and we bring our ribs and hips closer together as well, and this will create a kind of imprint so that your lower back lengthens a bit more into the mat. We're going to use all these muscles now as we come into the abdominal curl. So on your exhale, I want you to collect a piece of fruit like a plum in between your chin and your chest. So this is now working the throat, and then we bring the ribs down towards our hip bones and we pull the belly in and we keep the elbows wide. Think about the lower back lengthening into the floor, and we lift up the pelvic floor, and we're going to inhale to lower. Let's go again. We exhale through the mouth, and we inhale to release. And for 3, chin to chest, rib to hip, chest is reaching up to the ceiling. And 4, now the legs shouldn't be moving. Hug your thigh muscles around your bones and lift that pelvic floor. And we're slowing it right down. Don't worry about the height. Think about the lower back lengthening into the floor, the contraction here. That's all you need to focus on. The inclination is to want to lift up the arms, to do this, go high, yeah? And that's all that's going to do is create tension in the chest, which is not what we want. It's all here. And there's only so far we can go. So don't worry about your height. Think about the lower back in the floor, elbows wide, in peripheral vision. Let's do 2 more. Chest reaching up, the chin slightly tucked into the chest here. And we're holding it when we come up and talk to our body. Lift up the pelvic floor. Last one. Sternum down. Can you bring your arms down? Now, draw those shoulder blades into those back pockets. This should be burning now. Rectus abdominis, the vertical muscle now, especially the upper abdominals. And release. It should have been burning in the upper abdominals. Okay? So, good. Let's now work into the lower abdominals by using the legs now. So we're going to bring our legs to tabletop, knee over the hip bone, chin parallel to the floor. Now hug your thigh muscles. Remember, these are the core muscles as well. We hug them, yeah? Now the lower back, I want it lengthened into the mat by bringing your ribs down towards your hip bones, yeah? Hug here, belly in, bring the other leg up. Precision is the most important thing here. We slow it right down. We're going to inhale, take one leg out. The other leg does not move. Chin slightly tucked into the chest. Pull back in with your abs like a drawbridge. The other leg, I don't want it to move. Stretch. The lower, the more challenging on those lower abdominals. Like a drawbridge, we're going to pull that leg back in. And again. Now this is about thigh muscles as well, so stretch the hip flexor and strengthen the thigh muscles. And this side. Relax the neck and shoulders, rib to hip, lower back lengthened into the floor slightly, and in. Now let's try both legs. Out higher for me, higher, and pull in. Now don't come all the way in, just the leg over the hips. Now stretch. Keep the lower back lengthened into the floor. This is, if you put your hands on your lower abdominals, you'll feel them working. It's here. Pull in. Let's do one more. We inhale, the higher the easier, and we pull in. Very good. So let's lift the head and shoulders now, chin to chest, rib to hip, and we're going to bring one leg in and take the other leg out. Now, hand around the ankle, inner hand on knee, and lift a bit higher to work the upper abdominals as well as the lower abdominals now, so we combine the two. And we breathe, and we breathe, and we slow it right down. Draw your shoulders down away from the ears. Think about that 5-pound note in between your blades. Sit bones stuck in the floor. We don't want to rock from side to side, okay? Lift a bit higher, yeah? And it's burning now. The higher we lift up the head and shoulders, the more intense, the lower the legs. Yeah, so option, you can always, if you want to, go higher with the leg, yeah? But try and keep the shin parallel to the knee. And let's do 2 more. And bring those knees in. So the single leg stretch can be done easier or harder depending on how high your upper body comes up and how low the leg goes out and how slow you go. Remember, the slower, the more challenging. Yeah, slow wins the race in Pilates. So if you're a runner or a cyclist or a competitive person, you may find that difficult. You have to be aware, slow, slow, slow. Okay. So we're going to come back to the feet on the floor again, and we're going to come into some work on the obliques now, the rotation muscles or the breathing muscles, but they aid in rotation. So we keep the legs flat on the floor, feet flat on the floor, and legs at hip distance. Make sure those legs stay strong still. So think about those thigh muscles wrapping around the bones. Imagine a ball in between your legs, but don't cave in. Think about the hips broadening out to feel the outer thighs working as well. Okay, so we're going to exhale, chin to chest, rib to hip, lift the head and shoulders. Okay, we inhale, and I want you to rotate to one side by taking the lowest rib over to that hip bone. We don't want to drop the elbow here, so it's across, and it's back, and we come down. We exhale, we inhale, rotate, lower rib to the other hip bone, and back. And release. Exhale. Inhale. Elbows aren't dropping. The other shoulders are both off the floor. And think about your breath. We exhale up. We inhale, rotate the upper, not the lower. We exhale back. We inhale lower. We exhale over to the other side. So we go up. We inhale. We exhale. We inhale. Let's do one more on each side. Exhale and inhale and exhale. Lower back's in the floor, and we're contracting here. That's the most important thing. Elbows wide, shoulders away from the ears. Legs are strong, pelvic floor lifted, and down we come. Well done. So let's just take a stretch out there. So take both legs out, take both arms over your head, and just feel the sensation of just stretching out those abs, which should have been burning, especially the upper abdominals. Remember, upper abdominals is lifting the head and shoulders. The legs will always operate the lower abdominals. So it's a combination of the two that we want. And remember, all the core muscles are working here, and we have so much to think about. So it's really important that you concentrate
and talk to your body. All right, so we're going to bring those arms down by our sides, and we're now going to come back into our single leg stretch, but we're going to add the crisscross now, combine the two. Try and keep both shoulders off the floor. So we're going to bring the legs up to tabletop. Remember, one at a time. Make sure that belly is in, the rib to hip connection, the sternum to the pelvic floor, knees over hips and shins parallel to the floor. I want strong thighs, yeah? And concentrate on the toes. I don't want them to drop. They've got to be strong there as well. Lift their head and shoulders, chin to chest, ribs to hip. We're going to bring one leg in, outer hand on ankle, inner hand on knee, ideally shoulders away from the ears. Draw those blades back. We're going to breathe and switch. Now a little bit of external rotation with the legs if you want to, from the hip joint. So the knees aren't going inwards, if anything, a little bit of external rotation from the hip. Last one. Now bring your legs to tabletop, hands behind the head. Let's take our right leg out and rotate an inch or so over, lift up, chest reaching up for the sky, and back. Both shoulders off the floor. Other side. Exhale. And inhale. Now we're not dropping. We're going straight back over again. Exhale. And inhale. Legs are strong. Ribs are opposite hip bone. Chest up, up, up. Chin to chest though, but the chest is up. And inhale. Let's do one more on this side to finish. And in we come, and bring your knees in. So let's do our lumbar circle rolls now. So the abdominals play a big part of our core, okay, but they're not everything. They're not the be-all and end-all of the core. The thighs have to be strong, yeah, the glutes, the pelvic floor, and I consider the lats, yeah, the muscles underneath your armpits as well. And the rhomboids. Good. So let's bring those legs back down to the floor. We're just going to focus more now on the glutes and the pelvic floor. So with your arms down by your sides, relax the neck and shoulders. The heels are underneath your knees, legs hip distance. And just think about your glutes a bit more now, the bottom and the pelvic floor. And instead of the rectus abdominis now, we're working that transverse again that we used in our plank. So you've got to pull that belly in and be aware of this muscle, okay? So on your exhale, we're going to tuck the tail under and feel that lower back hit the floor. Zip up the pelvic floor. Imagine a zip. Lift it up. Squeeze your glutes and then peel the spine sequentially off the floor. We inhale at the top, and whilst we just stay here for a moment, just think about all 5 toes, just play around a little bit, and just make sure all those 5 toes are planted equally into the floor, and look from left to right for me. Get some lovely neck rotation here. The neck is long, but we tuck the chin in slightly, just slightly. We're lifting up the chest to the ceiling, and we're lifting up that bottom on every exhale. Now bring that gaze back towards, or your chin to center now, and just keep lifting up that bottom. Yeah, squeeze your glutes and all 5 toes equally planted into the floor. And take one more inhale here into the rib cage. And on your exhale, try and keep the hips up. Pull the belly in and bring your upper back down first. Belly in. So you try to round the spine here. Relax the neck and shoulders. Now this is the most important part, that middle back and that lower back. Lower back rounds, and then we flick the tail back to neutral. Little gap there, yeah? But we lose the gap now. Tuck the tail under, yeah? Pull the belly in, zip up that tight pair of jeans. Relax the neck and shoulders. Take it from here, put it here. Squeeze your glutes and peel that spine off the floor. Now let's bring our arms up to shoulder height. Now draw those shoulder blades back into those back pockets. Soften the fingertips. Let them rise up, but the shoulders are heavy into the floor. We're just going to stay here for a moment. Just be aware of keep lifting up that bottom. And just be aware of all 5 toes, inner outer soles of the feet. Are they equally planting down into the floor? Can you lift your bottom and the hips a bit higher? And by not having the arms on the floor, we're now having to work a little bit harder on the right muscles to work, the bottom, the hamstrings. And we're stretching out our hip flexors here. Take the arms over the head now and just be aware of trying to lift up a bit higher. You may find your knees go out or they go inwards. Just be aware of where you're dominating, where you're dominant. Your body will naturally want to go to where it normally does. So you might be the outer feet, the outer toes that are now beginning to take the strain, or it could be your bigger toe, your little toe, big and second toe. Just be aware that I want all 5 toes equally on that floor. And imagine a couple of nuts in your butt cheeks that you're cracking. Yeah, so let's work that bottom a bit more now. The gluteus maximus and the medius. 2 massive muscles in the bottom there. Relax your neck and shoulders. Now, if you can, you can always bring your arms down by your sides, but let's try and keep the hips up while you bring that upper back down first. Belly in. Then the middle back, then the lower back, and flick the tail up. Bring your arms down by your sides. Now, we're going to do that one more time. We're going to bring some movement in this time. So we're having to work the core here. Remember what we're working. On your exhale, tuck the tail under, pull the belly in. That transverse abdominis is engaged, the pelvic floor lifting up, your glutes, your hamstrings, and your rectus abdominis, yeah? Now let's bring those arms up. Now, if it's too much, just keep the arms by the sides. We're going to lift our left heel off the floor, just the left heel. So the right glute now is having to work a little bit harder. The right glute, yeah? Now, option, you can stay there. Otherwise, see if you can lift your left leg up to a 90-degree bend. Now, lift up that bottom. And I want both hips equal here. Now, let's tap that left toe down to the floor and bring it up again. The option, just keep the left heel lifted. Inhale, exhale. Let's do 4 more. Option, right arm out. Exhale, pull in with your lats. Yeah, the knee is pulled in with your abdominals. Yeah, let's do 2 more. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's do 1 more. Keep lifting up that bottom. Bring that foot and toe and heel down, and let's do the other side. So right heel lifts now, and now the left bottom cheek's having to work. Option, stay there, otherwise right leg into a tabletop position. We inhale, tap, and we exhale, lift up. Now keep lifting up that bottom. Inhale, tap. 4 more. Option, left hand. Inhale, exhale. The other arm doesn't move. Got to concentrate here and be mindful. Pull the belly in. Relax the neck and shoulders. Lift up your chest and your bottom. Let's do 1 more. Well done. Take that toe and heel to the floor. Lift up your bridge. Bring your arms down by your side. Can you go a bit higher? But now relax the arms and the shoulders and let the bottom do the work. And on your exhale, upper back, middle back, lower back, down we come. We're going to take the arms out to the sides. Now, take your bottom cheeks over to your right and then bring your legs over to your left. Looking over to your right hand. You can always bring your left hand to bring that top leg up and over to get a nice stretch now down the right side of your body. And into that glute. Allow the ground to collect you. Be mindful of where you're feeling the stretch here. The right shoulder should be getting a nice stretch. You're trying to keep that shoulder on the floor. And the right glute on the side of the body, yeah? We're going to stack the knees together. We're going to pull the belly in to come back to the center. Let's take the glutes over to your left and take the knees over to your right, looking in the opposite direction to your knees. We can use that right hand now to pull that leg up and over and back. Relax and soften your face, your throat, your shoulders, your chest. And enjoy the twist in the spine. If you want it further, you just rock a little bit further over with that knee, up and over. Keep breathing. And slowly now pull the belly in. Bring the knees back to the center. And take a moment. Okay, so let's now come into hamstring stretch. We're going to take the right leg up. And we're going to put our hands around the leg, but don't go too high. Just start off with the leg quite low down the leg, just so that you can keep those shoulders on the floor. And we're going to come into ankle rotation. So I want you just to draw a circle with that big toe. Breathing in and out. Other direction. We're breathing in. And draw the circle slowly. So we're getting a nice rotation of the ankle joint. Now let's lift that knee in towards the chest, but try and keep the back of the knee straight as much as you can. And we're just going to flex the heel up to the ceiling and drive the bottom down in opposition. Relax the neck and shoulders, chin slightly tucked into the chest here. And just keep driving and lengthening from the heel to the bottom. We're going to bring the knee into that right shoulder. Now on your exhale, pull the belly in. Keep the knee as straight as you can and flex the heel up. We breathe in, so the knee's coming in, and we're trying to deepen the hamstring stretch here, so try not to push the knee too far forward. Just simply extend. Breathing in. Breathing out. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in. Breathing out. Bring our chin to our chest, our ribs to our hips. Now, the chest is reaching up at the sky. The back of the neck is long. Okay, and we've got our arms around that hamstring. Point the toe now and try to keep that lever strong and long. Hug your thigh muscles around your bone. Now, use your lat muscles. Draw the shoulder blades down the spine. Think about that 5-pound note in between those blades. Hug the left muscles around that left thigh, yeah, like a chicken drumstick. So the leg now is driving off the floor, and lengthen. Point that toe as well. This is our scissor. Elbows wide, shoulders down. Lift up with the chest and the crown, but pull the belly down. Hold and keep breathing. And think about those lats, those abs, yeah, the thigh muscles around each leg. Lift the pelvic floor. The crown is lifting. The chin is slightly tucked in here. We're working the throat muscle. The back of the neck is long. And release. Let's do the same with the left leg. So we extend that left leg away now. We drive, that right leg away. And we take that left leg up to the sky. And we're going to come into our ankle rotations. Other direction. And relax the neck and shoulders, yeah. Make sure that neck is relaxed. And think about the back of that leg now lengthening. Let's hold the position now and just flex the heel. We're going to inhale that left knee into that left shoulder. And we exhale to stride back up again. Breathing in to the nose. Exhale, pull the belly in. Drive your heel away from your bottom. 2 more. Make sure you're pulling that belly in and the pressure is there and not into the neck and the shoulders. That's your fourth one. Flex the heel. Now bring your chin to your chest, your ribs to your hips, elbows wide. Okay, and let's drive that right leg away. Point the toes now. Sit bones stuck in the floor. Shoulders back away from those ears. Engage the upper back, the rhomboids, the muscles in between the shoulder blades. Now you can always take your hands now further down the leg, or up the leg I should say. Yeah, but keep the shoulders away from the ears. We're trying to straighten the back of that knee. Now we push this leg down and we pull this leg up with our abs. And we switch. And we breathe. And we need to breathe again. And we switch. Now we're pushing one leg down. We're pulling the other leg up with our abs. Shoulders away from the ears. And think about a bit of external rotation now with the hip joint. So the knees are not going inwards. Keep lifting up those head and shoulders to work the upper abdominals. 2 more. Stretch those hamstrings. Last one. And bring those knees in. Now, we wanted to make sure that we weren't rocking from side to side. Those sit bones are stuck in the floor. And we should really feel those abs and those legs working hard there in the scissor. So, should we combine those 3 exercises, the single leg stretch, the crisscross, and the scissor now, to build up the rectus abdominis again. So let's come back to our rectus abdominis. We'll bring our legs to tabletop. We lift the head and shoulders, chin to chest, rib to hip. Now, if you find this difficult on the neck, you can always keep your hands here and simply take one leg out and in, yeah? But the other knee mustn't move, all right? Otherwise, with the single leg stretch, we lift a little bit higher. We can bring one leg in as the outer hand goes around the ankle, inner hand on knee. Let's do 8. Don't rush it. We go for 8. Sit bones stuck in the floor. 7. We are centered in the middle of those 2 legs. Shoulders away from the ears. 3, 2, and 1. Bring your legs into tabletop, hands behind the head. We exhale, twist, ribs to opposite hip, both shoulders off the floor. We're lifting the chest up to past that knee. Keep both sit bones stuck in the floor. It's the upper that we're rotating, not the lower. Inhale, exhale. Let's do 2 more on each side. Exhale. Stretch that other leg away. Thigh muscles are strong. The pelvic floor lifting. The shoulders away from the ears. Let's do 1 more. And inhale. Now extend one leg, drive the other leg away. Find your position. You know, your posture as well has to be right. So shoulders down, elbows wide, lift, lift, lift. Sit bones stuck in the floor, thighs are strong. We go for 8 and 7. Slow it down. And 6. Stretch the hamstrings. 5 and 4. Bit of external rotation. And 3 and 2. And 1 more. And bring those knees in. Well done. Take a moment. Okay. Just hit the knees from side to side. Relax. Okay. So we're going to roll ourselves up to seated now. So put your hands behind your hamstrings, chin slightly tucked into the chest. Let's roll ourselves up into a seated position. Now, we're going to start off with our legs out in front, but take the legs wide. So the legs are wide. We're having to stretch out those hamstrings. They shouldn't be too bad. Option, just bend the knees a little bit. Okay, if you're feeling it in your hip flexors, you've got to think about the abs a bit more. So think about putting it here and the shoulders back. But if you need to, keep the legs bent, otherwise straighten them. We're going to bring the arms out in front and remember how we draw those blades into that soft V. And we're going to exhale our way to round over a beach ball. The legs are wide as the mat. And we pull the shoulders away from the ears. We're getting a roundedness in the spine here, like a capital C shape. Now, on your inhale, keep looking down. We're going to tuck the tail under like we're doing a shoulder bridge. And we're going to round the lower back and bring our ribs to our hips. The shoulders stay away from the ears. We go down to a point of tension. The thighs stay strong. We exhale, zip up the pelvic floor, and we round over a beach ball back into our spine stretch. Shoulders away from ears. Let's go again. We inhale, tuck the tail under, rib to hip connection, slow it down. At this time, we're going to come up tall, lats engaged, arms into a Y shape. Exhale, abs and lats, up, 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 Y shape. Exhale, over into our spine stretch. Flex the heels and drive those heels actively away from the bottom. Shoulders pulled away from your ears. Let's go again. We tuck the tail under. We round through that lower back. Pull the belly in, a little bit lower if you want to. Now we're staying low. So stay low, keep looking down, chin to chest, rib to hip. We round over into our spine stretch. Keep the legs strong. We inhale, tuck the tail under, thighs driving away. Now this time we come up high, lats engaged, abs, abs, abs. Keep the arms wide. Tall spine, shoulders back. Exhale, flex the heels into our spine stretch. Inhale, let's keep low now. So this is about all of the core working, rectus abdominis, thighs. We stay low, keep the legs on the floor, drive them away from you, round up and over. Stretch out the spine here, the back of the body, crown to tail, tail to heel. Inhale, tuck the tail under, ribs to hip connection, belly has to be strong, arms wide this time, keep it out of the neck and the shoulders, abs, 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 wide. Flex the heels, up and over we go into our spine stretch, crown of head reaching forward to catch up to your fingers, belly and hips backwards. Last time, inhale, tuck the tail under, round through that lower back. Thighs have to be strong, stay low, slow it down, slow, slow, slow. Yeah, we're rounding over like a tape, the pencil around that tape. Inhale, tuck the tail under. Yeah, keep those legs on the floor. This time wide, chin to chest, slow, slow, slow. Keep those legs down. Yeah, up, 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 up with your lats, shoulders down. Flex the heels, exhale over into your spine stretch. And bring your legs in now, in towards your chest, and just give yourself a little moment here just to feel some comfort. Hugging your legs around your arms, or your arms around your legs. And let's come onto our fronts. So we're now going to come onto our front to finish. We're going to come into some more anterior chain stretching. Starting off with our hands under our forehead, legs out in front of you, or behind you, legs hip distance, toes slightly outwards rather than inwards. And we're just going to start off by tucking the tailbone underneath your bottom, pulling the belly in, squeeze your glutes, relax your neck and shoulders. And on your exhale, we're going to stretch that right leg to the back wall. Now keep it low and focus on length. Inhale to lower and release. Exhale, squeeze your left glute and drive your left leg back. Pull. And release. Let's do the same with the right. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Lengthen. Your glutes are firing here. The neck and shoulders relaxed. And again, one more time on each side. Belly has to be in, tailbone has to be tucked. Hip bones on the floor with your pubic bone, but lift the belly and release. Now let's try both legs. Squeeze both glutes. Yeah, this is about bottom, this is about hamstrings, belly, and release. And the pelvic floor, it's all working, but we're stretching out the hip flexors. Let's go again. Stretch out those hips and strengthen your glutes. And release. Relax the neck and shoulders. Let's do that 2 more times. Pull, pull, pull to the back wall. And release. Bit of external rotation from the hip joint, so the butt fires a bit more. And release. Give those legs a little shake. Let's bring those arms out in front of you. Prone swim. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Brush the marble with your nose. Yeah, we brush it forward as we pull the belly in. Yeah, opposite arm, opposite leg. Stretch. And inhale, release. And other side on your exhale. And exhale. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Yeah, and squeeze the glutes. Let's do 2 more on each side. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Back bend. Use your lat muscles underneath your armpits on the arm that you're on, yeah? And that will help stabilize you. 1 more on each side. And release. Give your hips a little shake from side to side. Let's come into our isometric hold now. So we're going to draw those blades back. We're going to engage these muscles, abs, butt, external rotation in from the hip joint. So the toes are going out from the hips, yeah? And so we're going to squeeze our butt hard here, belly in, shoulders down, and let's stretch the fingertips away from the toes, belly in. Now, if you want to, you can bring your elbows down back to your ribs and come backwards and forwards, breathing in, breathing out. And 3, crown of the head is driving forward. And 4, clench your glutes, tuck the tail under, keep long. 5, let's do 3 more. Think about your upper back and stretching out the chest. 2 more. And 7. Last one. And 8. And take everything down to the floor and give your hips a little shake from side to side. Let's place the hands underneath our shoulders and bring ourselves up into child's pose. Forehead on the floor, crown driving forward away from the tail, and sink those hips back into the heels. We're going to round through the spine now, so pull your belly button in and let's round through the spine and bring ourselves back to our 4-point kneel. Now, a bit of external rotation again from the shoulder joint. Elbow creases facing forward. The hands can go a bit wider here if you want to. And we're going to take the legs out to a 3/4 position. Now the option is a plank in this position. So the knees aren't underneath the elbows now, they've gone further away. And now the core, the abdominals here, are working a little bit harder. Okay, so you can always stay here. Otherwise, we tuck the toe under on one leg and we drive that heel away from the bum and squeeze your glutes, pull your belly in, use your lats, and let's do the same with the other leg. Now the legs go a bit wider. Draw the blades back. And we're going to focus now on shoulder taps. So we put one hand to the opposite shoulder and release. And do the same with the other. And we slow it down. Now you can bring your hands slightly closer in now to get a bit more balance. The hips don't want to be rocking from side to side. They want to be staying on facing down. So there's a little bit of rocking. But try and reduce it by the legs wider or take the knees to the floor, abs in. You should be feeling it in the abs, but we're also working the lat muscles, yeah? Yeah, keep long from the crown to the heel. And let's do 2 more on each side. 1 more on each side. And last one. And down we come into our child's pose again. Upper body strength, core strength required. So let's round through that spine again to bring ourselves back to our plank position or our 4-point kneel position. So
Option, you can always do that one again if you prefer that one. Otherwise, we're going to come back to the elbow plank again to finish. Now, the elbow plank is obviously a lot more intense than the plank because we're closer to the ground. So it means the abs have to work harder. All right, so do whatever feels right for you. Shoulder taps is an option like we just done. 4 to 5 on each side. Otherwise, elbows under shoulders, and the hands are going to be out in a Cossack position, so they want to be doubled over one another. Okay, but the knees can stay on the floor if you prefer, like this. Okay, and you're going to come to one side like so, and you just focus on that. Okay, with your knees, so you're lying on the floor like this and just lift up the body. Yeah, but don't lift those hips up. Remember, we don't want to work the hip flexors. It's got to be the abs. Option, take the legs up as well. Wider leg to make it slightly easier. Now the right the right elbow is going to stay on the floor. We inhale, left arm up, and we look up, if we can, yeah? Option, knee on the floor, and let's come back, pull the belly in, shoulders back. Let's go same side, breathing in, and breathing two, and breathing in. Relax the neck and shoulders, soften. Don't collapse on the way back. You've got to constantly work, you see, on that upper body. So when you come back, shoulders drawing down the spine, the shoulder blades, yeah? And 4, I think it's our 5th one here, actually. So we're going to stay here now. Option, take that bottom leg to the floor, the knee, as an option. Otherwise, stack if you can and hold it for 5. And 4, soften the fingertips. 3, tail to crown. 2, and 1, and down we come. And just take a moment now. You can just take the whole body to the floor and just give those hips a little shake. And we're going to do the other side. So I'm just going to switch sides so that I can face you. So we start off in this position. So now it's going to be the left side of the body, the left lats that are going to do the work. The left side of the body. Remember, this is all core. Okay, so legs can go wider. Option, stay in this position and perform this one for me. Okay, otherwise, we inhale, left elbows underneath our left shoulder. We exhale, back down slowly. So we don't drop without control. Breathing in, soften the fingertips, exhale, shoulders away from the ears, squeeze your glutes, drive the heels back. Remember, we keep long. Abs in, a belt around the waist, draw the blades into that soft V, heels driving back, squeeze your glutes, lift up your pelvic floor. Let's do one more. I think this is our last one. Hold it here. So we lift up through our lats and our serratus anterior, our belly's in, and we can stack if you want to. We're going to hold it for 5 and 4, shoulders away from the ears, lift a bit higher with the hips and the lats, and 1, and down we come. And come all the way down. Lift ourselves up and to finish. Well-earned rest now. Child's pose. Oh. Let's take our left arm through our right. Option, lift the bottom. Yeah. You'd always extend the right fingertips forward and over to the left in opposite direction to those left fingertips to get a beautiful stretch in the front of the shoulder. Now drive the heels back if you want to. Try and get that back of that left shoulder on the floor as much as you can. Let's walk those right fingertips down and back. Let's switch the sides. Walk the left fingertips over to the right. Right fingertips driving away from you. Feel the stretch in the back of that right shoulder, in the front of the left shoulder. Slowly bring that left hand back. Bring that right hand round. And we're just going to bring the left heel in towards the groin and drive the right leg away from you. Now you can bring that leg round at an angle, but we want the hips facing down equally. So make sure those hips are equally facing down. Tuck the tail under and feel the stretch in that right hip flexor as well as in your left glute. And you can look up. We're opening up the chest here. And if you want to, we're going to bring that right leg up. Now, see how my hips jump up in opposition. Tuck the tail under. Bring the left hand slightly into the middle. See if you can go around and collect that right foot. Okay, and we're pushing the heel into the bottom. Now, tuck the tail under and try and get that right hip facing down. And looking up, open up the front of the body. And release. Let's do the same with the other side. The left heel comes into the groin. And we drive the opposite leg away. So some people prefer to go all the way to the floor, and if you want to do that today, you can. If your glutes are really aching and tight, you can go all the way down to the floor. Keep both sits and hips facing down equally, and especially on that right side, we're trying to get that down. That's the idea, you know. If you prefer, you can always stay there, but this is more like that, the hips opening up a little bit more in the quad stretch. So this is all about the quads as well, especially on this left side. So we're going to bring that left leg up. The right hand comes into the center. We collect the left hand to collect the left foot. We're trying to get that heel into the bottom. Yeah, don't worry if you can't. My quads are tight. Tuck the tail under and try and get that left hip as close to the ground as you can and the heel into the bottom. Pushing the collarbone forward, shoulders back. And release. Let's release both legs. And come into Mermaid. Both legs over to your right. Right arm up. Let's exhale over into our Mermaid. Try and keep that right bottom cheek into the mat here. We don't want to lift up. Elbow in line with the ear and the shoulder. And slowly return on our exhale. Inhale and exhale other side. Hand can be on this knee just to push that down. Feel the stretch. Open up the shoulder here. Let the head just drop. We're lengthening and stretching here. One more. And this time if you want to, you can lift the bottom off the floor and we're coming up and over. Now tuck the tail under and drive that right hip towards me. Forward. And elbow is in line with your shoulders. So don't come forward or do this. I'd rather your elbow is bent and up and over, up and over. Keep tucking the tail under. Get a beautiful stretch in the right hips. And down we come. Let's switch to sides. See how it feels on this side. Try and keep both hips level here, both sit bones equally into the floor. We pull the belly in and we lengthen. Remember how the crown is lengthened up to the ceiling by pulling our belly in. So we've worked a lot here today, and especially here, this will improve your posture, the shoulders away from the ears. Let's take up our left arm. Exhale, we keep that chest open. We don't want to create any roundedness. We've focused today on external rotation of the hips as well as the shoulders to avoid and prevent rounded shoulders and a kind of like rounded posture, stooped posture. So we're strengthening the back of the body and stretching the front. So be aware of stretching here as well as stretching the sides. And let's do that one more time. This time, if you want to, lift the bottom. Exhale, tuck the tail under. You'll know which side feels tighter than the others. You'll feel it. You'll just want to do this. The shoulders are away from the ears. Try and keep in 2 panes of glass. Keep breathing. Relax the neck and shoulders. Keep tucking the tail under, hoisting the hips forward. And back down we come. And release. Let's bring the legs out in front of us now. Create a little gap with those legs. Okay, and just take a moment here just to relax the shoulders. So we can do alternate shoulder rolls up to the ceiling, back and down, up to the earlobe, sorry, here. Forward, up, back and down. And then other direction, we go back up, forward and down. Individually. Nice. And we're just going to take the right ear to the right shoulder and up to the ceiling. Let's go over to the other side and bring the chin to the chest, back and up to the ceiling. Jut the chin up and down. Let's rotate now over our right shoulder and back, over to the left and back. And finally now just take the right ear to the right shoulder again. We're going to place the right hand gently, gently on the other side. Your left arm can come out now and flex the wrist, palm down in opposition to your right elbow that's going the other direction. Now just gently pull and feel the stretch here. And slowly release, slowly. And let's go over to the other side. So left ear, left shoulder. You might want to stay there. Otherwise, left hand comes around the right side of that head. Don't yank, just gentle pressure. And we can take that right hand out, driving the meaty part of the palm away from the left elbow. And slowly now release the grips and come back to the center. Breathing in, we're going to take both arms through the center. Breathing in, breathing out. Now open up the chest, bit of external rotation with the shoulders. Breathing in, reach up nice and tall. Belly in, exhale. Crown of the head, reaching up. Let's bring the arms forward. We breathe in. And breathe out through the mouth. Now keep tall, belly in, lift, lift, lift. The pelvis is heavy, but we're lifting up through this crown of the head. Take your left hand around the right knee and just rotate over to the right side, using the neck as well as the waist. Waist, waist, waist. Lengthen through the spine and twist at the waist. Slowly come back to the center and let's go over to the other side. You always put the back of the hand on that knee, place the left hand behind you, lift up, 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 and then rotate neck, and this is now the right waist. Drop the shoulders, take the eye gaze a bit further if you can, but relax. And slowly come back. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's session, building a stronger core with mindful thinking. Hope you enjoyed it. Any feedback, welcome. Bye-bye.